Imagine you are an individual who has a pretty good life from the outside looking in. You have a house where you can stay. Yes, still make payments on it, but you have a place to live. You have a job that you are actually using a degree that you went to university for. Friendly coworkers. The work is somewhat fulfilling. And in your home, you have some pets you love and adore. You have a partner who supports you in whatever you want to do. You have family that you still keep in touch with, a group of individuals who you enjoy hobbies with, gaming, talking movies, things like that. And yet, you're still thinking about some life questions on who you are, what you want, and where do you want to go, right? I think this is a very common thing, and it's actually where I am right now. I'm trying to figure out who I am and what I want. And so if you haven't seen that first introductory video of myself, go check it out. But this is going to be more of a analytical session on how I think I view myself with some question and answer prompts. So let's get to it. Let's get to it. Okay, so we built this nifty little tool, and its goal is when making this, the whole goal was how do we find a little bit more about ourselves and use that as a way to diagram or create this kind of roadmap onto where we want to go, what we want to do, who we want to be, right? It's hard to decide on where to go if I don't know where I've been. And so I'm hoping that these questions that I go through and answer about myself illuminates that path a little bit. I haven't done any of these questions, so I'm going to be looking at it for the first time. And I'm hoping at the end of this, we'll send it through some sort of AI processing and see if the machines can help me answer something that I've been thinking about for a couple years now. So first question, what's the one question about yourself you still can't answer? Pretty easy. I mean, I don't know who I am. I don't know who I am. I don't know how to explain. I don't know how to explain who I am or what I want, right? Pretty simple. That's the whole kind of idea of this channel, is that video blog about answering these kinds of questions, right? So there's no fixed you to discover. What are you actually trying to become? This is a concept, and they even have it here, Anada, that I've been thinking about, right? There is no fixed you. And when I think about myself, what's interesting is that, as I was getting ready to record this, I was in the bathroom washing my face, and I looked at the mirror and I was like, I don't see the individual in the mirror as I think I see in my mind. So there's a little bit of a disconnect there. And if it changes, right? Like if there's no fixed you, what are you actually trying to become? So what is it that I want? I just want to be happy, right? I want to be happy, and I want to provide some level of value that leaves a legacy, right? Whatever that legacy is, I haven't decided yet, but I think at my core, when I think about who I am, I don't know, but I know what the person I want to be wants, right? Like it's hard because I can't say the attributes of who I am. Or like I'm kind, caring, I'm intelligent, I can figure things out, flexible, things like that. But I don't know if that denotes to who I am. And then on the flip side, right, my job, right? I'm a programmer. I'm a technologist. I don't think those things define me, because I also read books, right? Like I read books, I cook, I delve into model making. I'm a caretaker to pets. It's hard to let one of those individual activities define me. And so what's interesting is that I find myself gravitating more towards a ephemeral ideal of who I am, right? And with it means that it's flexible and it's shifting and changing all the time. So I want to provide, even with all of this changes, I know that I want to provide some sort of value that exists or persists even while I'm gone, right? So some sort of legacy. And it could just be the middle age and me talking. We'll see. I'm 33 years old. So it just could be that. All right. So What do you burn energy on every day that really isn't up to you? I have to go to work. This one's pretty easy, right? Like I have a day job, and I have a day job. I was gonna say pets, but I think that is up to me, right? I can put them up to adoption. Partner probably wouldn't go for it. We love our pets dearly, so. But I think at the end of the day, if I really wanted to, I could put them up for adoption. I have to have a day job, right? I have to have some means of making money. I can get rid of my current job, but it has to be replaced, right? Like I can put my pets up for adoption and not adopt new pets, but I don't really have that option with work. So instead of day job, right? Like I have to make money in order to live, right? Like that is a thought that I have to do, and it's something that just is outside my control. Let's see, what do you burn energy on every day that isn't really up to you? Yeah, I think that's it. What are you looking for that you suspect has no final answer? Ooh, okay. What am I looking for that I suspect has no final answer? And I kind of alluded to this in the beginning because I've been thinking about that ideal of self. I think it's always going to be changing, right? So the concept of who I am is going to constantly change, right? And I think this is just, in my opinion, it's going to evolve. I remember as a kid, I probably had one view, right? Like I would say, hey, I'm a student, or I play video games, right? And as an adult, as I grew up, like that ideal kind of changed, right? I no longer say, hey, I'm a guitar player, right? Even though I still play guitar, it's not nearly as much as I used to back in high school, but it is something that I still do. I don't think it's integral or central to part of who I am. It's just a piece of it, right? So I think the overall concept of who I am is going to constantly change. And I'm wondering if what I want is going to change, right? Like, and I keep going back to these two questions because even in my first vlog video to myself, I thought about the two biggest questions in my life are who I am and what do I want? And I think at every person's life, in each stage, these are going to change. What I wanted as a kid was I just wanted games for video. I wanted money for video games, right? Switch my words there. I wanted money for video games, so much so that I used to pocket my lunch money that people would give me, my mom, my dad, and I used to have a pencil case. It was a green pencil case, and if you were around during the 90s, you remember putting Elmer's glue in that little. There's like a rectangular band in that case, and you would make bookmarks, right? Elmer's glue, a little bit of color, and you can make a whole bunch of different bookmarks. I had a green pencil case that was studded with that filled in. I just never took off the bookmark, and in it was once a week $5 bills, quarters that I would have from selling. I used to sell candy in high school, so like gum, peanut candy, mazapans, and so I would go to my local candy store, buy them, big giant packs, and go and sell them as a kid in high school. And so with that little pencil tin of change and bills, I'd buy video games. My mom would always tell me that food is for that money's for you to eat, right? That money's for food, for lunch. And I was actually more content buying a video game at the end of a month than I was having lunch every day, right? I used to save my burritos in the morning. My dad would make us breakfast burritos, huevo con chorizo, and I would just wrap them up, put them in my pocket, and I would save that. So that was my lunch, right? So it was plenty. It was more than enough, and that has changed, right? So now, as I think about what I want currently, right? This goes going back to our questions. What I want currently is something different. I just want to be happy, and what that looks like is probably going to involve some sort of value given or some legacy. I don't know yet, but I think core to this answer is the concept of who I am is going to constantly change. What practice do you claim matters more than your behavior shows it does? Ooh, what practice do I claim matters more than my behavior shows? I guess here's what do I talk about a lot that I myself don't preach, right? What do I preach that I don't practice? And I think here it's going to be, I talk a lot about how easy it is to make content and by extension make money and kind of free yourself, but I don't do it. Right. And I identified this in the first vlog as well, is I've gone through all the steps, I've gone through all the knowledge gathering, the research. And that's another thing. Maybe I just want to research all day because that was fun, right? But I've gone through all of that and I haven't done any of it. And I know the answer to all of this is consistency, right? You just actually have to do the thing. You can have the cure to cancer, but if you don't actively put it out into the world, who's going to know, right? If you don't tell anyone about it, who's going to know? If you don't utilize it or get the word out there, who's going to know, right? So I'm going to say, here, putting action towards the knowledge I have gathered, i.e. towards content creation. I know that consistency, I don't need to capitalize that, consistency, and simply putting out any piece of content is better than none, right? And then this is matters more. So I was going to say by extension, that means not caring what people think, right? Just don't care. Everyone who I look up to and is successful has that. I don't really care what other people think because I'm too invested in my own thing and the own things that I'm going on to care, right? And so I do think that's important, and I don't think it's the most important at my life right now. I think the most important that I think is just doing action. Stop thinking, stop trying to research everything and move into a more active phase is, I think, the answer to this question here. And so we're still in the spiritual section here. So what are you gripping tightly that you've rebranded as a letting go? So what do I still care, right? Like I still care, or rather I am still afraid of what people think about the activities I put effort in, right? So yeah, like if I know that this channel is a block to myself, I know that it's supposed to be in 5 years, I'm going to look at it and I'm going to hopefully see some sort of growth towards answering the questions, whether that's in either direction, right? Maybe I just become more lost, hopefully not, but I want to be able to see growth. And I am afraid that during that process, people are going to say like, this is stupid. You're stupid. Why are you even doing this? It has no value. Get rid of it. Right? Like people aren't going to understand. And I have to remind myself, this isn't for people. Yes, it can help someone, I think, who might be navigating the same space I am, but ultimately this is for me. This is so that I can understand who I am and what I want, and this is so that a year down the line, 3 years down the line, 5 years down the line, I can have a documentation process of me knowing what works, what doesn't, and hopefully just ultimately answer that question, right? Or those sets of questions. So I think for this one, I'm still afraid. What are you gripping tightly that you've rebranded as letting go? I am still afraid of what people think about the activities I put effort in. All right. When did you last feel fully here, and what were you doing? Present. Right. In the moment, it's easy and tempting for me to say video games, because most of the time, right? I will say most of the time I'm focused, but even then, right? So video game wise, I enjoy TFT, PUBG, shooters, things like that. And I would like to say that I'm super attentive all the time while I'm there, but I know that I'm alt tabbing all the time. I know that I have streams up, I have Netflix, or I'm talking to my partner, right? And so I'm not fully attentive. I would say, oh, you know what? Simple. it just happened. Our water heater went out. We didn't have any hot water in our shower or hot water tap, any of that. And so I kind of kicked into, okay, well, like, let's go research what it could be. I took pictures of the water heater, model number, serial number, and started researching, okay, let me look at the user manuals, some FAQs, figured out how to kind of dismantle the front cover so I can see inside of it a little bit. Learned about pilot lights, viewing windows, all of that stuff. Looked into it. Guess what? Pilot light was out. A couple YouTube videos later, and I'm able to reignite it. It holds, right? The first time I did it, I let go too early. There's a thermocoupler. So if you guys don't know, a water heater. Interesting, right? Outside of this, if you don't know your water heaters, if you have a gas water heater and it has a pilot light, it probably has something called a thermocoupler. And what that does is it senses fluctuations in your gas level, in your fire, in your flame level. And so what was happening is I would turn on the pilot light, it would ignite, but I wasn't given enough time for that thermocoupler to heat up adequately so that the sensor would recognize, okay, pilot light is in a stable state, right? So it would turn, if I would turn it on and then let go too quickly, it would turn off, and the thermocoupler, the sensor would be like, oh, something's faulty with the pilot light. Nope. All I had to do was keep holding on to it for 30 seconds instead of the 2-second flick that I was doing, right? So that was something that was interesting. I really enjoyed learning about that. And that is what I think I was fully present. So I researched and remedied a problematic water heater where the issue was a faulty, it wasn't even faulty. It was just a pilot light that had gone out. Simple. Which physical thing, sleep, food, screens, secretly runs your whole day? What physical thing runs my whole day? I mean, given these three options, it would be screens, right? So in the day, it's work screen, my work laptop, right? So that's screen. If I have lunch breaks or take little breaks in between, it would be my phone screen, right? Scrolling. After work, it is, hey, let me kind of chill out, watch Netflix, watch some TV or something while I'm maybe cooking dinner. And then afterwards, let's continue to kind of wind down into the night with some video games, or very recently, these YouTube videos, right? So I would say screens. Screens is probably what runs my whole day, like physically. And that's if I don't take, all right, so I'm gonna, here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna say screens run it from the outside, right? So as far as outside distractions and outside factors, it's screens. Internally, and I've been kind of thinking about this, it is my chase for dopamine. And so what I mean by that is I'm a big guy, right? So I chase dopamine through food. I have noticed that if I ever feel down or I'm just like, man, I'm having a really bad day. Well, what picks me up? Well, nice piece of bread, right? Maybe some toast, maybe a muffin, right? Maybe some enchiladas, right? Things like that. So screens run it from the outside, but chasing dopamine, right? So like after a hard day at work, guess what I want to do? I just want to veg out on the couch and watch TikTok all day, scroll through YouTube shorts, watch Netflix. I've actually what's interesting is I've noticed a shift to where I care less about traditional media and things like television shows, movies, right? Where they have their own set universe and stuff. And I'm really finding interest in looking into how other people live their lives. So Outdoor Boys, great YouTube channel. It's just a dude living in Alaska and it's the things he does. Great, I love it. There's a few channels that are the same. There's Chef Channel Follows, I think they're called. They're English UK region, and it's just two chefs in the restaurant. and they're showcasing how they create different food dishes, right, in their restaurant. And oh, don't get me started on things like the how that like how it's made kind of deals with giant factories. Those are always cool and fun. Anyways, with this physical thing, right? Is dopamine physical? Is dopamine physical? I want to say yes. I think it's yes. It's not an emotion. It's not a feeling. It's a physical chemical reaction. So yeah, chasing dopamine levels throughout the day, right? What does your body do under pressure that your mind won't admit? What does my body do? What does my body do under pressure? My body. So if I'm stressed out, I pace. All right, so I pace under pressure. I'll get up and I'll walk constantly. What else do? I look away. I don't like looking at people, but that's not really something my body does. That's just like an interaction between people. Under pressure, what does my body do? I tick. And I don't say tick in like in the traditional sense, but I do have little movements that I do. I'll rub my knees quite frequently. So I pace under pressure when not able to stand up. Rather, I rub my knees, and I do crack my thumb and my thumb knuckle a lot. Like I'll just move it back and forth over and over until it cracks, and crack my thumb. Clarkson's Farm. Nothing with this, but Clarkson Farm, if you haven't seen it on Amazon, it's one of those shows that I talk about where it's just people living their lives. Yes, it's an entertaining and it's very scripted on some moments, but it's so good. If you haven't seen it, go watch it. There's like 5 seasons of it now. All right. When did you last move your body just because it felt good? Move my body because it felt good. Like because my body felt good or because I felt good? I felt good moving my body. The last time, I mean, I go for walks. I think that is something I do because it feels good. I don't do it, right? Granted, I know the science behind it. I know it is healthier for me. I know that going on walks is better. And it does reset my mental space by not still being inside the house all day. I go for a walk, environment, outside, trees, seeing green, all of that science, right? But understanding logically that science is different from doing it because it feels good. And I think I do it because it feels good, right? I go for walks. So let's say I went for a walk. What's today? Thursday. So I went for a walk on Tuesday. Went for a walk on we'll just say 2 days ago. 2 days ago. And I did that because it feels good. What habit does your body carry you into before you've decided anything? Looking up and to the right. And I just did it right now. And I've done it this whole time. This is something that I've noticed because I've seen other people do this. And then I recognized, oh, that's something I do as well. So looking up and to the right or away, just in general, or away in general, when thinking about a subject, an answer, right? Anything like that. I do tend to look away when I think, and I think that's my body trying to limit distractions so that I can focus on my answer. But I think that's a habit that I do. After your last win, a rank, a ship, a rare pool, a ship. What was that? Ship. Oh, a shipment. Because a developer. Right. Ah, got it. All right. So after I last got the rank I wanted, after I successfully shipped something as a developer, right, coder, a rare pool. I don't have any on my desk right now, but I have cards, right? Riftbound cards, TCG. And I got one pretty decent pool. It was a Baron, about $20 on it, but nothing really great. How long did the good feeling actually last? Honestly, it lasted about an hour, right? If I'm in the activity, I notice, and we'll take the card pool because that was my latest, I guess. The card pool, it lasts about an hour. After that, it kind of goes away, and I'm looking for the next fix, which brings me my dopamine chasing. And I'm noticing it feels good when I reach the next rank. That gives me that dose of dopamine. It feels good to ship code, and it feels good to get that rare pull. But once it goes away, we're chasing it again, right? So these activities directly aren't long lasting, right? At least in my opinion, about an hour is not long lasting. It's fun until I'm done the activity, which is probably a better answer, right? It lasts until I stop the activity, right? So if I'm still in that mode of the activity, it's cool. Otherwise, I just lose it. Okay, when you build, are you chasing the thing or chasing the not stopping? When you build, so with this means when I do code stuff, when I make tools, right? It goes back to that value. I do build a whole bunch of tools, and honestly, I do it because coming off a startup where you're going, and even now, actually just got an email from work, right? It's 9 o'clock where I'm at, and end of the day is 5, but I still got an email from work about 30 minutes ago on something we have to do before a deadline, right? So I think I was conditioned to working a lot, and that was my modus operatus for a while, operand, whatever that term is or phrase, right? My default mode was for a while just working. And I do remember that I would tell my partner from time to time, I would tell her, I'm bored. I don't know what to do, right? It's not necessarily that I put something out. It's that I feel like I'm not wasting my day. Yeah. So for this question, when you build, are you chasing the thing or chasing the not stopping? I am absolutely chasing the not stopping. I get bored and don't want to waste my time, right? Like waste my time. Recipe or improvise? And is that your answer everywhere else too? If you are Chowder fan, there is a scene, an episode where Mong and Chowder have to go in and renew their chef license. And there's a term in there that's used throughout that episode called a recipe pirate. I am absolutely a recipe pirate. And even though it has the word recipe in it, that means I choose to improvise, which is interesting because impro, guys. Yeah, which is interesting because I do like to research and plan things out beforehand. But I think once I understand the concept, the overall ideal, then I'm fine and happy with improvising because I've already solved the problem. I just need a way to get that solution with the tools I have, right? So I choose to improvise and carry this mentality everywhere else as well. Everywhere else as well. My God, I missed a whole word on that. Okay, cool. And so, like, as you see on the left hand side, I've kind of filled in my guy with the things that I was talking about and hoping to answer. So hopefully when I place this last node, it's going to go ahead and compute and look at my what I think of myself through these answers. The whole idea is it's just going to reflect back what I said, but in a format that I can easily understand and digest. So let's see here. Okay, that was pretty fast. So let's read through this. What I'm hearing. So you describe someone reaching towards happiness and a legacy of value while honestly admitting you cannot yet explain who you are or what you want. Yeah, they're pretty valid. You've made peace partly with the idea that the answer will keep changing anyway. Yeah, like I think that's totally fine. The problem is I don't have an answer for it right now, right? So patterns across these layers. Your self-described and not stopping shows up everywhere, chasing dopamine through screens, fearing wasted time when building, and a good feeling that only lasts until I stop the activity seems to matter more than any destination. So it is, well, that's funny, right? So what's the saying? It's not the destination, it's the journey. And so I seem to have taken that to an extreme where I'm constantly in the journey, but the dopamine high is that journey, right? Or maybe that's the destination of the journey. Am I doing these steps to hit the dopamine and that's my true destination, instead of, hey, I'm taking a walk because I want to take a walk, right? Like, am I taking a walk because I want to get to a certain part of the neighborhood, or am I taking a walk because it feels good? And I'm taking a walk because it feels good. Do I play video games because of a certain thing? I want to hit a rank, right? The journey. Do I care about that journey for that rank, or do I just want to hit the rank and then get the dopamine hit after it? And the answer is I absolutely just want to get that dopamine hit, which is interesting. Okay. You name action as the practice you under honor. Putting any piece of content is better than none. Yet you also admit that you're still afraid of what people think, the very fear that makes your consistent action hard. Yeah. Yeah. And I think a lot of people still struggle with this, right? Like, it is hard to make content because content is inherently judged. You have likes, dislikes, reposts, a whole bunch of numbers, followers, subscribers, a whole bunch of vanity metrics. And I put vanity in quote because depending on your mindset, if it's a hobby, they're vanity metrics. If it's a business, they're pretty valuable, right? So things like that we have to think about. But yes, absolutely. It is. I have that contradiction in me and I'm still trying to look through it. Your one moment of bullying fully here was concrete and solvable. The water heater pilot light, a clean problem with a clear fix, which sits in contrast to the open, unanswerable questions about identity you carry the rest of the time. I have seen this idea a lot in my life, where there is the idea of the concrete against the more ephemeral philosophical stuff. And I think what's happened is I've honestly grown attached to that dichotomy, to the high contrast between the concrete and the ephemeral. Yeah. It's cool. It really is cool to see this kind of stuff like spat back out me. Your body keeps a quiet record of pressure your mind won't admit, pacing, rubbing your knees, cracking a thumb knuckle, looking away to think. Yeah. I mean, looking away, I think, is the least offensive of all of these. So where you pull against yourself, non-attachment. You say the concept of who you are will constantly change, yet you still grip the fear of others' judgment about what you put effort into. Yeah. I don't know about that one. You say the concept of who you are will constantly change, yet you still grip the fear of others' judgment about what you put into. Yeah, that seems like fact to me, right? Like, what's wrong with that? You chase the not stopping to avoid wasting time, but the time you describe as fully present was a single bounded task you saw through to completion. Okay. This one I'm interested in because I do have 3 or 4 projects that I'm working on all the time. Even in my work life. Especially in my work life. I'm the only dude in my entire department. Like, the entire agency's questions about my topic flow through me. Which means I have to juggle 6, 7 different projects at a time. So yeah, that absolutely. And there was a Dr. K. So from Dr. K from Healthy Gamer, during COVID, I was an avid Dr. K fan. And there was a concept, Ayurvedic, where part of that concept was determining how people live, or what their element of life was. And so, like, you're either fire, where you're just constantly going, classic Western culture where it's go, 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 hustle culture. You're always burning, you're always going. There's earth, where you're a little bit slower, but you're more grounded. You'll get to where you are. You can weather any storm. And then there's wind, where you're kind of bouncing between different ideas, right? Like, you get really excited about one topic and then you switch over and you get really excited about that and you switch back, and you're not really staying in one lane for very long. And so it can take longer for you to accomplish things. But when you do accomplish, you traditionally accomplish 3 or 4 different things at the same time, right? So very high level idea of that. And so I've had this thought of the time we described was a single bounded task you saw through completion. I have thought of, is it bad that I identify more with the wind persona in Ayurvedic philosophy, right? Juggling different things all the time, or should I double down on a single task? I think what's interesting about the water heater task is that it was small. It is something that I could do in 30, 45 minutes versus a month-long journey where I'm focusing on a single task. And that might be in the micro. It might be that, hey, it might look like I'm following that fire nature of let's just do this thing, finish it, and move on. But I think at the macro level, if it took any longer than that 45 1 hour, I probably would have given up. And this gives me a really good idea on, I've noticed a trend in my Steam library that I have a certain number of hours that I hit on a game before I just kind of dump it and move on, which is interesting. Anyways, the through line, a pull between motion that never settles and a quiet wish to land somewhere that finally feels like value, presence, and home. A pull, and this is just what we just talked about, right? Like motion that never settles, that wind, and stone, where it's just like, hey, I want to be somewhere that feels I have value. I'm a place where I belong, right? Who I am, what I want. A question to sit with. When the good feeling only lasts as long as the activity, what are you hoping will still be there once you stop? When the good feeling lasts only as long as the activity, what are you hoping will still be there once you stop? I'm trying to think, because in some instances, and I've talked about this with my partner, so I have played competitive games, and part of that is like I just want to feel like I'm good at something, right? Whether it's shooting games, fighting games, puzzle games, right? TFT, 2XKO, Tekken, Overwatch, PUBG, Valorant, right? All of these things that I have in common they're all PvP games with a ranking system that puts a numerical value to some sort of effort level or skill. And I think when the good feeling lasts, I'm searching for a number value that correlates again to at a core self-worth, right? Like at a core, I have a number value that says, yo, you are this number value, this numerical digit worthy. And I think that's what it is. Yeah. And it kind of sucks to feel that way. Because I know logically it shouldn't matter, right? And again, we're going back to content creation on why I think it's scary is that if people determine and use that numerical values that we have in place to say that it sucks, I mean, there's that number, right? Like number of followers. You don't have a lot, you suck. Number of comments that are negative. You don't have a lot, you suck. Thumbs down, you have a lot, you suck, right? Very much correlating these things. And I think, what are you hoping will still be there when you stop? I think that metric, and it goes back to leaving a legacy, right? Of some sort. I think that metric value, that legacy, and it's because it's concrete, right? It's not really hard to understand. It's a number. I think that number being there as a legacy of some sort is what I'm hoping will still be there. Which is cool. But yeah, that's this. So I'm going to use this and try and lead my search of who I am and what I want through this. All right. Like I know where I am now. I know that I am filling my days with activity because I don't want to waste my time, while also trying to answer questions to get rid of those activities, right? Like once I understand who I am and what I want, I can just do those things. I don't have to worry about anything else. But doing those things means getting rid of the daily activities, the noise, right? And it's going to be hard, and it's going to suck. But I think that's okay. Like now that I have a picture of this, I think it's going to be okay. Maybe.